Hello all. So we have seen two named reactions uh, via video lectures. So one was your Claisen condensation, the other was your Dickman condensation. So the third and the only named reaction that is pending from my side is Mannich reaction. Mannich reaction is nothing but an addition reaction. It can sometimes be also called as a condensation reaction. Again, the same concept. There is a nucleophile, there is an electrophile. The same concept is applied here as well. The reaction mechanism is a bit complex compared to the other two, Claisen and Dickman condensation. So please pay attention. Uh, Before we go into Mannich reaction, if you remember, Mannich reaction is somewhat, the basis of Mannich reactions are somewhat close to your aldol condensation or mixed aldol condensation. If you remember, with mixed aldol condensation, ideally formaldehyde is a very good electrophilic agent. We have already learned that because the C double bond is flanked by two hydrogen atoms, the central carbon can act as a very good electrophile. So it's a super aldehyde, it's a super electrophile as well. The trouble with formaldehyde is it is too reactive. It is also one of the drawbacks that I had mentioned during the aldol condensation lectures in the class, that when you are using a mixed aldol reaction, one will act as a nucleophile, other will act as an electrophile. So one has to be enolizable. The one that is enolizable, which has a alpha hydrogen, will act as a nucleophile. The one which is non-enolizable, which does not have any alpha hydrogens, will act as an electrophile. So formaldehyde does not have any alpha carbons. It does not have any alpha hydrogens. That's why it's a super electrophile. But the problem with formaldehyde is it does act a bit too much, so it's too reactive. So it also gives you unwanted reactions as well. If you can see here, it is nothing but a normal example. This is nothing but a screenshot of Claydon itself. It's a cross aldol reaction between acetaldehyde and formaldehyde, something that we have already seen a lot. So the basic concept here is acetaldehyde, because it has an alpha hydrogen, will act as a nucleophile. It will enolate. It will form a enolate. Formaldehyde does not have any alpha hydrogens. That is why it will act as an electrophile. So in short, I'll just go through the mechanism quickly. Here, this is acetaldehyde. It has an alpha hydrogen. The base will abstract the proton. It is, as you remember, it can be base catalyzed and acid catalyzed both. So this is a reactive, possibly enolate. This enolate is carrying a negative charge. The negative charge will eventually come on this carbon here, and this carbon, which is nothing but from formaldehyde, will now act as this carbon will now act as an electrophile. The negative charge from the nucleophile attack the positive charge and give you a condensation product, which later will eventually give you a aldol product. That aldol product can be later dehydrated to give you crotonaldehyde or such kind of alpha beta unsaturated ketone compound. The aldol is formed, right, but this aldol may not be the final product because of the over reactivity of this compound formaldehyde, because it being such a powerful electrophile. Now this powerful electrophile will now even try to enolize this aldol molecule that is formed. So what is going to happen is the first aldol that was formed will undergo enolization, form a enolate. That enolate will now form a nucleophile. That nucleophile will attack another molecule of formaldehyde to give a second aldol. The reaction still won't stop there. The second aldol now will again enolize to form a enolate. That enolate will form a nucleophile. That nucleophile will again attack a third molecule of formaldehyde to form a third aldol. The reaction won't even stop there. It will normally even react with one more molecule of formaldehyde to give you a fourth aldol. So that is the biggest disadvantage if you want to react formaldehyde with a enolizable aldehyde or ketone. The reaction won't stop at the first cross aldol. The reaction will keep on happening. So that is one of the disadvantages of using formaldehyde in cross aldol type of reaction. So if you want a controlled reaction with only one molecule of formaldehyde to be added exactly to any carbonyl compound, it could be an aldehyde or a ketone. It has to be enolizable, of course. then managed reaction is a preferred route. Meaning, if you have a enolizable aldehyde or a ketone or a enolizable compound, any enolizable compound which has alpha hydrogen, and you want to react it with only one molecule of formaldehyde exactly, managed reaction is a preferred route. If you go via your aldol condensation, the reaction won't stop at one molecule of formaldehyde. Almost, as you have just seen, 4 molecules of formaldehyde will be added. So now we'll go to your managed reaction where one molecule of formaldehyde is reacting exactly with one molecule of enolizable compound. So managed reaction is nothing but amino alkylation of an acidic proton which is placed next to a enolizable carbonyl compound. So you can see the reaction here. This is your enolizable carbonyl compound. Enolizable meaning it should have a alpha hydrogen. This is your keto group. This is your alpha carbon. It has one alpha hydrogen. So this can be enolizable. You are reacting it with one molecule of formaldehyde and one molecule of either a primary amine or a secondary amine or ammonia. The trick here to remember is the amine, whatever you are reacting, should have a hydrogen attached to a nitrogen, at least one hydrogen attached to a nitrogen. That is why you can only use primary amines which have two hydrogens, secondary amines which has only one hydrogen attached to nitrogen, or ammonia which has three hydrogens attached. Tertiary amines cannot be used because here in a tertiary amine the H will be replaced by a R. You need at least one hydrogen attached to the nitrogen in your amine. So this is but nothing but managed reaction is amino alkylation of an acidic proton. So if you can see the reaction now, look at the product. What is happening is on this alpha hydrogen, this acidic hydrogen, acidic carbon, what is getting attached? A alkyl group. Matlab CH2 is getting attached. Alkyl group is ideally CH3, but that one hydrogen will be replaced by this amine. So alkyl group is getting attached, CH2. Where did this CH2 come from? This CH2 will come from your one molecule of formaldehyde, and there is amino. So there is a amino group also getting attached. So this is called as amino alkylation of an acidic proton placed next to a enolizable carbonyl compound. This reaction is called as managed reactions. If you can see, the colors are also kept the same here. This amino group is here. This formaldehyde structure has been attached here. This your original enolizable compound is here. So this is a typical addition reaction, also called as sometimes also called as a condensation reaction. This entire reaction is called as managed reaction. This compound that you form at the end is also called as managed base. Remember, managed base. The final product is a beta amino carbonyl compound. Beta amino, meaning the name suggests on the beta carbon there is a amino group. So if this is your carbonyl carbon, this is your alpha carbon, this is your beta carbon. On the beta carbon there is a amino group. Amino here we have given by 2R, it can be 2H also, as you know. This entire managed reaction goes via the formation of Schiff base or an imine salt. Now we'll look at what is a Schiff base, what is an imine salt as we go ahead. Just remember, this entire reaction goes via the formation of Schiff base or imine salt. Another important point to remember, the tertiary amines do not work. So now the difference between an amine, as you said here, it goes by the formation of Schiff base or an imine salt. So what is an imine? Amine is nothing but RNH2. Imine is nothing but RC double bond N. So C double bond N, this kind of structure. C will be attached to R group, N will be attached to another R group. This R could be anything. It could be H, it could be CH3, it could be ethyl, it could be anything. But the basic structure is C double bond N, and both the C and N are substituted. This entire group is called as imine. So this kind of intermediate we are going to form in this managed reaction. So this is also called as a condensation reaction between a nucleophile and electrophile. As I already mentioned, tertiary amines lack that NH proton. That is why no reaction. Now, Another important point is alpha hydrogen containing compound. So this you saw a carbonyl compound which contained the alpha carbon. That alpha carbon had a alpha hydrogen. Need not necessarily be that it has to be a carbonyl compound only. Any compound would do. It could do a nitrile, could do acetylenes, could do aliphatic nitro compounds, could do sometimes even heterocyclic compounds, furan, thiophene. All those compounds can substituted obviously. All those compounds can also be used provided they have a alpha carbon and they have a alpha hydrogen attached to it. But what reaction mechanisms we are going to see of managed reaction? We are taken a starting material which is a carbonyl compound and it has a alpha hydrogen, but need not necessarily be a carbonyl compound. All other different kinds of compounds can also give you managed reaction. Only prime requirement is it should have a alpha hydrogen. That's it. So this is the example that we'll see via the mechanism. As you rightly know now, you need three things for the reaction to happen. First, you need a amine, a primary amine, secondary amine, or ammonia. You need a alkyl group. That alkyl group is going to come from formaldehyde, and you need a compound containing acidic proton. So you need three things. You need three starting materials for the entire reaction to take place. So here they have used a cyclohexanone structure. Again, this is a ketone which is enolizable and it has alpha hydrogen. So this is your carbonyl carbon. So these two are nothing but alpha hydrogens. Both these contain four, total four hydrogens. All these four hydrogens are nothing but alpha hydrogens. So now I have got one of the reactant ready. I have a enolizable compound containing alpha hydrogen. This is ready. Now they have taken a dimethyl amine. They have taken a secondary amine as your amine, the second reactant, and this is your third reactant. This is nothing but your formaldehyde. So three reactants are ready. You just have to add all those three and you will get your beta amino ketone. Beta amino ketone. So if you can see here, this is your carbonyl carbon. This is going to be your alpha carbon. This is going to be a beta carbon. This beta carbon has an amino group attached. So this is a beta amino ketone. This is your eventual product. They have shown the addition on this carbon. The addition can also be done on this carbon. Both are symmetrical. Both are alpha hydrogen containing carbon. And this entire reaction is going to happen in an acidic medium. Pay attention. In last both of the reactions, we use basic mediums. Here we are going to use an acidic medium in HCl. So we'll go to the mechanism. First step, amine attack on the electrophilic carbon. Amines, as you know, are nucleophilic in nature. They have that lone pair. So that lone pair can act as a good nucleophilic center to having that negative charge. So amines are nucleophilic in nature. Those nucleophiles are now going to attack your electrophilic carbon. In the all three reactants that we use, the best electrophile is nothing but formaldehyde. It is the strongest electrophile. So this carbon here, if you can see, is going to be positively charged. This double bond is going to move up. There is going to be a positive charge on this carbon. That is going to attract this negative charge from the amine, and then there is going to be an addition reaction. So this O is here, is carrying a negative charge from the double bond. This C is here. It has two hydrogens attached to it from formaldehyde. And now this C is now attached with a N. So N has attached here and the substitutions of that amine remain the same, H, methyl and methyl. Now if you can see N, the valency of N now is 4. The lone pair also has formed a bond due to which the nitrogen will now gain a positive charge. This oxygen is going to have a negative charge. Second step in the mechanism is shifting of proton. The proton shift is going to happen. As you can see, nitrogen is unstable here. It has a positive charge. So this proton is going to move on this oxygen. Oxygen already has a negative charge. So this O is going to turn into OH, and because this nitrogen gave away this proton, the lone pairs are going to come back and the nitrogen is again going to go its original valency of 3. So this is your basic second step product that is being formed after shifting of a proton. Third step, acid catalyzed dehydration to form imine salt, also called as a Skiff base. Skiff base is nothing but a imine salt. Imine is something that we have already studied in the previous slide. Hope you remember. So this compound that we just made in the second step after shifting of a proton, I have taken this product here, which is formed in the second step, and I have catalyzed it using a acid HCl. So the thing that is going to happen is this HCl is going to protonate your hydroxy group. So this hydroxy group is going to form H2O, is going to carry a positive charge, and due to which this entire group can be removed. I've just converted hydroxy into water, and I've just converted OH into a very good leaving group by just protonating it. When this will move, as this bond breaks, the lone pair will also try to come back and form a CH2 double bond N dimethyl structure. Because the nitrogen now has four valencies, the nitrogen will now develop a positive charge. This compound is called as imine salt, also called as a Skiff base. Skiff base are very important intermediates for a lot of synthesis of different kinds of drugs of different structures. So Skiff base is something very important in chemistry. So imine salt, also called as a Skiff base, is being formed as your intermediate. If you remember, before starting, I had already told you it goes via the formation of a Skiff base or an imine salt. So now we at step 3 we have already formed our imine salt, CH2 double bond N dimethyl. Now the next step is your readying of your nucleophile. So this imine salt is now a electrophile. You can see there is a positive charge here. So this imine salt is going to act as an electrophilic complex. How it will act, we'll see ahead in the slides. So now your electrophilic center is almost ready. We need to find our nucleophilic center now. So for the nucleophilic center, again, you will start with your one of your reactants is still left, which is your cyclohexanone. If you can see, it is a carbonyl compound containing alpha hydrogens here and here. So because it is acid catalyzed, the enolate formation won't be directly, it will go via keto-enol tautomerism. If you remember this keto-enol tautomerism, which you might have already done in your last sem, so this is a keto group, so it will have a enol as its tautomer. So this one proton from your alpha hydrogen will move to this oxygen and form a double bond between the two carbons here. So this is the keto form, this is the enol form. Now what will happen is this lone pair, that oxygen that has the lone pair will come here, form a double bond. This C2C carbon to carbon double bond will come on this carbon to give rise to a negative charge. Thus your nucleophile is now ready. This nucleophile is now ready. This nucleophile will now attack your electrophilic complex, which is nothing but your imine salt. The nucleophile is ready, your electrophilic complex is ready. So now the last step is addition of electrophilic salt to the enol. So now let us see how this imine salt acts as an electrophile. If you can see here, nitrogen has a positive charge. A much more stronger nucleophile will be carbon having that positive charge. Now what's going to happen is your double bonds are, the double bond between C and N is going to move on the nitrogen. The nitrogen will get back its lone pair, but now the carbon is electron deficient, and now this will develop a positive charge. So now this is just a little rearrangement. So that is why we are calling this as an electrophilic complex. So now this is your final electrophile of your imine salt that is formed. This is the final electrophile of the imine salt that is formed. Your nucleophile I have already drawn here from the cyclohexanone structure. The nucleophilic carbon is here ready. The electrophilic carbon here is ready. Now what's going to happen is your electrophilic carbon, your nucleophilic carbon are going to attack each other and form a bond. And in all of this process, this hydrogen is going to get removed because this O also now has a positive charge. That O has to regain back its original lone pair. So this H is going to be expelled out. O will get back its lone pair. So double bond O is being formed again. This carbon here from the cyclohexanone, the alpha carbon is going to attach to this carbon. This carbon came from the imine salt. Where did this carbon come from in the imine salt? This carbon, this CH2 came from formaldehyde. This entire group came from your secondary amine. So now you will get this kind of structure. This carbon will attack this carbon and form this C2C carbon to carbon new bond formation is ready now, and the rest of the molecule remains the same. This is your alpha carbon to the carbonyl group. This is your beta carbon. The beta carbon has an amino group attached to it, dimethyl amino, but still amino. It is a beta amino carbonyl compound that is being formed. Beta has a amino group attached, beta amino, and it is a carbonyl compound. Beta amino carbonyl compound is formed. This compound is also called as Mannich base. So, as you had seen earlier in the slide, this compound is now being formed, beta amino carbonyl compound, via your mechanism. The mechanism is a bit tricky, it's a bit lengthy, but it's quite easy to understand. You can always go back to the mechanism, go back, rewind the video, and go through it quite slowly. You will understand it quite well. If you have any doubts, feel free to contact. Some of the applications of this Mannich reaction: it is extremely useful in organic synthesis of natural compounds, some peptides, some nucleotides, antibiotics. You might have heard some of these compounds. Rory tetracycline is nothing but a Mannich base of tetracycline, the famous antibiotic. Fluoxetine is nothing but an antidepressant. Tramadol, tolmetin, these are all anti-inflammatory drugs that you must have heard. So, a lot of drug synthesis happens via the Mannich reaction. So, it has a lot of applications. So, the three remaining named reactions that were pending from my side, Claisen condensation, Dickmann condensation, and Mannich reactions, are now complete. The pending part is electrophilic addition that I'll finish in the next couple of days. So my portion will also be over. Please go back through this video and go back to your Mannich reaction. Because this is a little bit tricky, take your time and try to solve a few questions. One question that you can solve is, instead of this cyclohexanone, you can use acetaldehyde. You can use any other, you can even use acetone. So I'll give you two sums for homework. Is your starting material here will be acetaldehyde, dimethyl amine, and formaldehyde. You have to tell me what the final structure is. Another assignment will be, there will be a ketone, acetone, dimethylamine, and formaldehyde. So two questions, one using acetaldehyde, one using acetone. You have to just tell me what the final structure is. If you don't get the final structure, please feel free to contact. It's a pretty simple reaction. This entire concept is called as your Mannich reaction. The Mannich reaction is nothing but amino alkylation of an acidic proton from an enolizable compound. Thank you so much.